This morning, let's look up in the sky right now. What can we see? Okay, that's what it sounded like when Natasha McCarthy went skydiving. It happened last week, and it's another item she's checked off her life list. Natasha's been a frequent guest on our show. She was diagnosed with young onset Parkinson's in her mid-30s, and A Broken Body's Journey is the name of her blog. And Natasha has talked to us about all of these steps that she's taken in her journey, the things she's doing to stave off the effects of Parkinson's, how she's dealing with it, how she's looking for treatment. She's joined us to talk about fundraising. She's joined us to talk about support and awareness. And she certainly shared what she's been up to in her personal life. And Matt caught up with Natasha recently to hear about not only her skydiving adventure, but that life-changing surgery that she hopes to receive in the next few months.
Hello, Natasha.
Hey, how are you?
Well, I'm doing okay, but I didn't jump out of a plane. How did this come about? Why did this come about?
I jumped out of a plane on Thursday. How did it come about? I always wanted to, but I was always too chicken. And last year I tried to find someone to do it and nobody would. And anyway, I decided that if I was going to do it, I had to do it now. If I get approved for DBS, you can't skydive afterwards. So I figured now or never, and I took the plunge.
How did it feel to be up there and out there?
It was crazy, but it was the most amazing thing ever. Terrifying at first, but then once you jump, it's so spectacular and so amazing, it's not even scary anymore.
And what was the feeling when you hit the ground and you knew you'd accomplished this?
I was screaming, woohoo, that was freaking awesome, I said. It was just such a rush, and adrenaline and Parkinson's don't go well together, and by the time I hit the ground, I was shaking pretty bad, but that's okay. It was awesome. It was worth it. I'm hopeful that DBS will get approved, and if I wanted to do it, I have to do it now.
Well, we had talked with you a bit about this back in April, which was Parkinson's Awareness Month. DBS, remind people what that is and where you stand with that now.
So that's deep brain stimulation. So they put a couple of holes in your skull and put some wires in there and feed them down your neck into a neurostimulator, sort of like a pacemaker that gets implanted in your chest. And it's quite a process to get approved. So my process started a year ago, June. You need 3 yeses, and I got my second back in the end of May to finish the testing. So that was probably the hardest yes to get. And I go back to Halifax to the neurosurgeon and his team on September 25th for some testing. If I get the green light after that, they say it could be January when I actually get it done.
How are you feeling about reaching this step, getting, 2 of the yeses you need?
Well, the appointment was stressful. My bestie was with me, and I said to her when they left the room to decide if I got to move forward, I said I felt like I was sitting in a judge's courtroom waiting for either a life sentence or to be set free. And she thought, that's crazy. Why do you think that? And I said, because 3 people just left the room with, my fate in the next 10 years in their hands. So it was pretty emotional when they said yes. I went outside and I think I bawled my face off for about 10 or 15 minutes.
What are your hopes with this? What could this mean to your life?
Well, it'll hopefully mean a drastic reduction in medication. All of the meds do wonders, but they all have bad side effects. And we spoke in the spring about how I had to come off a med and I wasn't able to do, a lot of exercise or play music and things that I enjoy doing. But it also treats dystonia, which I'm plagued with in my arms and my calves. And the off periods, that's the other big thing. You're constantly being stimulated, so you don't have big, huge off periods when you're waiting for medication to kick in.
And as a young mother, it's all about that quality of life, and every day counts, right?
It is. I told the neurosurgeon in Halifax that, I want this done now while my kids are 6 and 10, so I can enjoy my time with them. I don't want it done in 10 years' time when one of them's off to college.
So all of those questions and the various procedures and I guess tests that you have to go through to make sure that you can get this procedure done, what are they looking for? What makes you a good candidate?
Well, they used to be a hard 50 to 70. Thankfully, they've changed that, and there's some gray area.
How old are you now, Nick?
I will be 41 in October, and they don't typically do it on anyone my age, so that second yes was a big deal. They want to make sure you're the right candidate because it's a big deal. It's a big surgery, and they don't want you disappointed that it doesn't work. So, they're looking for how far advanced you are, how much medication you take, how long it lasts, and I'm on a quite hefty dose of medication, but when it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And most people see me always when it's working and wouldn't know the difference. But, back in May, I got the stomach flu and I couldn't hold my meds down. And I ended up, after about 8 hours, we had to call an ambulance, and it took 3 EMTs to get me on a stretcher. So that's the difference between skydiving Natasha and Natasha without meds.
And so this could be around the corner for you, though. This could be as of January.
It could be starting the new year, which is terrifyingly exciting. Yeah, the procedure, having someone drill a couple of holes in your skull while you're awake is pretty freaky. But I know people that have had it done, and I've seen them before and after, and it's amazing. So it's totally worth it if I get to go through with that.
And I saw you tweeting about the skydiving, and you were saying this was kind of on your list, right? What kinds of things are on that list, and why are you setting out to do these things?
Well, I guess when you have a degenerative disease, a lot of people think about, they're always planning their retirement and what they're going to do later. Well, I already had to give up work, and I don't know how long my body will work well. I've progressed significantly in 5 years, even though it doesn't look it to the outside world. So it's kind of the mindset that you got to do stuff while you're able. And, I take my kids camping a lot, and everybody freaks out when I hook the camper on and tow it somewhere myself. And I say, next summer, I might not be able to do that. So I'll do it while I can. And that's kind of the way your mindset goes.
It's changed the way you look at time.
You don't look forward too far. You just kind of live in the moment and you do what you want to do. And I still try and keep the mindset that I won't let it hold me back. I mean, realistically, eventually it's going to hold me back. But, like skydiving, I wanted to do it. So get it done now while I can. For the most part, it's just live. And if something excites you in the moment, don't think, just do it. And but skydiving was definitely on the top of the list.
I can't help but notice the tattoos, and maybe you can talk a bit about some of those and what they mean to you, what they symbolize.
Yeah, that's a new sleeve that I'm working on. I have 2 sittings in and 1 to go. It's full of red tulips, and that's the flower for Parkinson's, and it's got lots of butterflies on it, and a cocoon's going to go on there still. The butterfly and the cocoon symbolizes a catalytic moment in life. So for me, that was a diagnosis. And in nature, if you help a butterfly bust through its cocoon and its wings aren't strong enough, so it doesn't fly as well, and in turn can die sooner. So the idea is the harder the fight, the stronger you are. So butterflies have kind of become my thing.
And there's a couple of faces in the back there too.
Yeah, my 2 girls when they were 6 months old are on the back as well.
What do they think about Mom skydiving?
My 10-year-old, I think, was a little nervous and freaked out. She sometimes has a lot of worry about Mom, and that's been a challenge. And I told the guy when we were up in the air, he asked why I wanted to do it, and I said all the reasons that I already said, but I told him I want my girls to grow up knowing that they can do anything if it's something they really want to do, and that's part of it.
So that next appointment is in September. How much are you thinking about that right now?
I've been trying to be busy and not think too much about it, but remaining optimistic, and that's why, doing things that I can now that I won't be able to do after. So I think it'll happen. I hope it'll happen.
Thank you, Natasha.
Thanks very much.
Matt Rainey speaking there with Natasha McCarthy. Natasha wrote to me this morning to remind you of the annual Parkinson's Super Walks, August 26th in O'Leary, September 9th in Charlottetown. Superwalk.ca to support the cause. Time for the 7:30.